123Employee, the premier outsourcing centers in the Philippines. And today I'm joined by
Beejal, all the way from India.
Beejal Parmar, Vice President of 123Employee. And if you're not familiar with 123, we are the premier outsourcing centers in the Philippines. We have hundreds and hundreds of virtual assistants on 3 continents. And our niche is we work with entrepreneurs all over the globe and some of the biggest thought leaders on the planet. And we do their internet marketing, their social media, their telemarketing, their back office tasks, all the busy stuff in their business so they can focus on the income generating activities in their business and the things that really juice them and excite them. You know, today there's more on the entrepreneur's plate than there ever has been in the history of the planet, and I believe that is because of technology and innovation. There is now so much that one entrepreneur can do. Technically, you can do everything in your business. You can do the sales, the distribution, the marketing, and the list goes on and on. At the same time, we have less help than we've ever had before. As you can see this evening, I'm working from my home, as is Beejal, and so many people work from home today, so they have less help than they've ever had, and they have more on their plate to do than they ever have. And I think that entrepreneurs today are plenty busy. I don't think there's any problem with them being busy, but the question is, what are they busy doing? We find that so many entrepreneurs are busy sort of chasing their tails. They're focused on the minutia, they're micromanaging their business, and as a result, they just can't expand their business. And I speak on stages all over the globe, as well as Beejal, and we speak to entrepreneurs all over the world. And what we see is that entrepreneurs are stuck, and they're looking for solutions, and they know that they need to be outsourcing and delegating. They know they need help in their business, but the number one thing we find is that they don't know how to get started. They just don't know where to begin. They don't know how to train their virtual assistant. They don't know how to get them up and running. And so we decided that we would record a short hangout to sort of explain how to get the ball rolling. Not the entire process, but just how to get it going, how to start working with your virtual assistant, how to make it methodical, how to make it easy. And so let's go ahead and jump into it, Beejal.
You know, probably one of the number one questions we get, Daven, at the event is how much training do we really need to provide for our virtual assistant? So I think before we can really answer that, it's recognizing who are you actually hiring. So there's a range of, when we talk about outsourcing, people immediately jump to thinking about, people working maybe in the Philippines or India. But outsourcing can lend itself to consultants who know exactly what their role is, to specialists who may be doing website design, graphics, and then to virtual employees and virtual assistants. So when people hire for the first time, or if they're new to outsourcing, one of the areas, or gray areas, is training. Do VAs come, or virtual assistants, do they come pre-trained? And what does pre-trained mean from our perspective? So that's going to be the topic of today. We're just going to explain to people how much training they should be prepared to provide for their VAs and how best to provide that training.
Yeah, and when people think about getting help, they think about getting a virtual assistant. They think that they're going to get a specialist, a marketing specialist, or they think that they're going to get a strategist. And the reality is a virtual assistant is a task executor. They need to follow a plan. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be your plan. It could be a plan that a partner created for you, or a marketing partner, or it could even be a program that you purchase. Or it can be a training that you put together as well. But basically, virtual assistants are task executors. Now, over time, they can be turned into strategists, but it requires a little bit of a time investment.
Yeah, and so what we always recommend when people come to our trainings, Daven, and I kind of learned this really from you, which is almost from how you worked with your number one employee at 123, which was videos. I mean, it's so when you're starting off the very first time, you don't need to teach a VA how to log into Facebook. You don't need to teach a VA how to open up a Gmail account. What VAs do need to know, though, is kind of that step-by-step process that maybe you are currently using in your business that you want them to take over. So you have some thoughts on how best to provide that training. What are your suggestions there?
Sure. Well, when you're training, there's really a few different ways you can train. Of course, you can have written material, you can put together manuals, but and that's great, but it's time-consuming. Another option is you can have audios or video, or you can just do one-on-one training with your virtual assistant. And my favorite by far and absolutely the best way to train is video, like you said, Beejal. And so you want to create short videos, and these are usually screen capture videos. So you're usually making moves on your computer and you're recording these videos. If you're a Windows user, one of my favorites is Camtasia. If you go to camtasia.com, you can pick up a fully functional 30-day trial absolutely free, and then after that it's a paid service. Jing is tremendous as well. Love Jing. And if you're a Mac user, you can use Jing, but you have some other options. You can use ScreenFlow, and or you can use QuickTime. QuickTime for Mac actually records, and that's actually my personal favorite because the render time is so short, whereas Camtasia can take quite a while. And you literally put on an earphone and you start talking through the moves as you're opening up your software apps and running through those apps, and it's really easy to do. And I like videos because you have them on file at your like 123Employee, and we have a very low attrition rate, but should you ever lose somebody, then we have a training on file. Your project manager just grabs that training and gets a new person up to speed quickly, and we make it as painless as possible. So videos are nice and easy. Now, there is one option that's even better than that, and that is using somebody else's videos. And what I mean by that is that there are outsourcing trainings out there. We have some excellent outsourcing trainings as well, and or let's say you pick up a marketing system. Let's say you buy a course on video marketing. Well, that's great. There's going to be videos right there in it. Or let's say you buy video marketing software. There's going to be videos pre-recorded in there, and you literally give your virtual assistant the URL, the username and password, and you say, learn this and implement it. And that's the best way to go because you don't even have to record the trainings.
So here's a question. I'm playing devil's advocate here, Daven, playing the role of the of a client here. So I know behind the scenes that we use consultants. When we want to work on a specific strategy, we bring in some of the top names in the company in the industry to help us create strategy. We consult with them. Now, a lot of small entrepreneurs or people who are getting started may not have that luxury of working with some of the big names in the industry. So they come to us and they will hire a virtual assistant. And what should they expect in terms of the virtual assistant's know-how, or how up-to-date will the VAs be on the latest strategy? And where would I start? So if I was a brand new client coming to 123, what would be my starting point in terms of how much training I would need to provide for my VA, my new VA?
Sure. So that's a great question. A couple years ago, I guess it's been almost 3 years now, we changed our model at 123, and we changed to what we call a project management model. And the reason that we did that, it was really because internet marketing and social media was moving so rapidly, it would be impossible for one person to know how to do everything. So now when you come to 123Employee, we actually assign a project manager to you. And this is basically, you can almost think of your PM or project manager as your virtual assistant. But they have more resources than just their own. So we give you somebody that matches your needs as closely as possible. And these are our senior people. But if something goes beyond their scope, they can dip down to other pools of specialists and then project manage those tasks. And we found that this is definitely a much better way to go. Now, when you're thinking about the tasks that you're going to outsource, we highly recommend that you think about outsourcing ROI. And outsourcing ROI is a term that we coined several years ago, and it's just like the name implies, it's taking virtual assistants and getting them to pay for themselves. And so we always say, first focus on the income-generating activities, tasks that if your virtual assistant carried it out, it would make you money. That way you're getting an ROI, you're going to keep hiring more people and growing and scaling your business. And then the second thing you want to focus on is you want to focus on the things that save you time. Because it doesn't matter how great you're doing in your business, even if your time is worth thousands of dollars, you can't go out and buy more time. Nobody can buy time. It's a precious commodity, and your time is money. If your time is freed up, then you can focus on other ways to grow your business. So the second thing you want to do is offload the tasks that are taking up your time so that you free up your time to go out and make more money.
Cool. And in terms of a starting point, I know for a lot of our clients, they opt to take our marketing consulting plan as a starting point if they have nothing to start with. So that's a great option. But when they first hire a virtual assistant, what would they expect in terms of the current knowledge of the virtual assistant in terms of strategy? Like, are our VAs up to all the SEO strategies and article and video strategies, or would I, as a client, need to train them on my specific strategy?
Sure. So you tell us what your needs are when you come on board, and we're going to match you up with somebody that can handle those tasks for you. Um, and let's look at specific things. So if we're going to talk about doing SEO tasks, well, our people are not particularly SEO strategists, but they understand how to do the different tasks that are involved in SEO. So you could give them some tasks and they could do it. Now, let's say you didn't know specifically what those tasks were, but you know you needed SEO. Well, then I'd highly suggest that you pick up a program that you can give to your virtual assistant so that they can follow it and learn how to do that stuff. Now, Beejal, you also mentioned what we call our SEO marketing plan. I think I'm glad you mentioned that, and let's go ahead and kind of explain that to people. You know, we know entrepreneurs very well. I've been an entrepreneur for over 3 decades now. Beejal and I probably maybe a total of 50 years of being in business, which is quite a bit. And so we understand entrepreneurs inside and out, and we've been working with you entrepreneurs at 123Employee for about 7 years now. And one thing we know about you specifically as an entrepreneur, is that you don't have a marketing plan. No entrepreneurs these days, very few entrepreneurs actually have a marketing plan. Now, they may have 1 or 2 things that's working, but they have no plan. And that's potentially a recipe for disaster, especially in this world where marketing is changing by the millisecond. I mean, if you were in the SEO business a few years ago, if that was your business and you were using SEO to drive traffic to your websites, you went out of business because Google changed their algorithms and everything stopped, like in a day. And so we know that it's imperative that you have a marketing plan, and also people would come to us with directives like do my SEO or do my internet marketing, and of course that's too broad. You know, we know how to do that stuff, but it's too broad. So we actually created a solution for that. We call it our SEO marketing plan, and I'll go and tell you a little bit about that. So when we create an actual marketing plan for our clients, the first thing we do is we look at their on-page SEO. These are the things that take place on your website to make that website more accessible to the search engines. Now, if you don't have a website currently, you have an idea, then we'll take a look at that idea. And we'll do the keyword research. We'll identify the key phrases that are going to get the most amount of traffic, that have the least amount of competition. And then we're going to give you a fully detailed report showing you what needs to change on your current website to make it more accessible to the search engines, or what needs to be on that new website that you're creating to make it more accessible to the search engines. That's your on-page SEO plan. And then what we do is we take a look at your off-page strategies. Now, off-page is anything that happens off of your website that drives traffic back to your website. So some examples of off-page strategy would be networking, direct mail. These would be sort of off-page strategies. Off-page strategies that are online would be like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, backlinking, article marketing, video marketing, and so on and so forth. So we'll identify a host of these off-page strategies, maybe 10 to 15 strategies. And then what we do is we actually record a video for you. It's a custom video. It's over an hour long, showing you step by step exactly how we would market your business, exactly how we do this step by step. Now, this video serves 2 purposes. One, it just shows you what the heck has to get done. And I don't know about you, but most entrepreneurs find this internet marketing and social media thing just a little bit confusing. And if that's you, don't feel so bad. We have the privilege of working with some of the biggest online marketers on the planet, and that's because we do all their back end. We do all that marketing stuff for them. And guess what? They find it just as confusing because they know that, like I said, internet marketing and social media is changing by the millisecond. A single person cannot keep up. So this video just shows you what the heck has to get done. It's digestible. It's easy to understand. You watch the video and you're like, okay, I get this now. I understand it. But this video also serves a second purpose. This video now becomes the roadmap for your 123Employee virtual assistant. So your virtual assistant, they watch the video, they plug this information into their project management software, and then they know what to do step by step to market your business. And they can just follow the plan, and they're off and running. And it's a very cool solution. And if you want to get more information on it, it's you can simply go to 123employee.com/ and I always get this wrong. It's either marketing plan or marketing plans. Do you happen to know which one it is, Beejal?
I don't offhand, but we'll put it in the description.
Okay, cool. But either way, 123employee.com/marketing plan or marketing plans, plural, and you will find our SEO marketing plan.
Cool. And I just want to just clarify, and just in case it's been missed out, you're talking about two different services. We have the specialist, okay, and they are also part of 123, but they're not our virtual employee team. And over here we have the virtual employee. So we get the specialist to create the plan, and we give it to the VAs who execute. So plan creation and execution. Awesome. All right,
Absolutely.
so I've got my VA now. I've got my project manager. I've got my VA team ready. How best would I manage the team? And before I let you jump in here, I'll kind of tell you one of my stories where I was using one of our own people to execute on a task. We're doing some research a while back, and I forgot a critical piece of the equation, which was you give your VA a set time. So I assigned the task, but I didn't specify how long to spend on the task, and I forgot I did that. It's one of those moments where you don't enter it into a task management system, and so the task was assigned. I forgot, and I checked back in like 3-4 days later, and I'd forgotten I'd given her this one task, which in my mind was a 4-hour task, and yet the VA did it for 4 days. Now the reason she did it for 4 days was there's 4 days worth of research to be done, but my intention wasn't for it to be a 4-day project. So even ourselves who've been doing this for years, have these oversights. So it's imperative, when you're starting off with working with a team of VAs, and usually you will find that you'll start off with one, and then you might have 2-3 people you're working with, that you have a system in place. What are some of the systems that you use, Daven? Because I know that you get gazillions of emails, and one of the things that you've done really well is figure out how to manage the management of your emails, to a VA.
Sure, sure. And Beejal, you kind of mentioned something there that I also want to bring up, and that is, you know, unfortunately, we will never have a perfect business. We do a great job at 123, and every single day we get better at what we do. But we'll never have the perfect business because at the end of the day, we're in the people business, and people are fallible. People make mistakes, but of course, we'll always turn around and make it right. But people are going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. And quite often, entrepreneurs will see mistakes that might happen, and they generally think, well, it's a virtual assistant, but quite often they don't take responsibility or quite understand how they have a role in the management as well. And you just made a perfect example right there where you gave the person too much time and they just kept working away. And if you know Filipinos, you know that they're very eager to please, very friendly, very warm, and in places like the U.S., there's sort of an entitlement mentality when it comes to employees, but in the Philippines, that doesn't exist at all. And so what happens so often is entrepreneurs have what we call, they basically get too busy to manage. And so what happens
Let's call it what it is. It's entrepreneurial ADD.
Entrepreneurial ADD, absolutely. And so what happens is they'll assign something and then they'll just get busy. And then they come back a short while later, like a few days later, a week later, and it's like, what have you done? Well, I just did what you gave me to do, over and over and over again. I kept perfecting it. And, we often ask our employees at 123Employee, we say, what is it that you love about your job? What do you hate about your job? And the only thing that they really hate about their job is when they're not busy. And the reason why is about 65% of our employees come in at midnight and work till 9:30 in the morning, and that's because about 65% of our clients are in the U.S. So we have to match their time zone. And so our employees come in, in the middle of the night, and they work hard, and the evening goes by quick. But if they have nothing to do, they fall asleep at their desk. And I have to tell you, that's honestly the worst thing in the world. Like, think about the last time you fell asleep at your desk. You probably woke up and you went to bed, but unfortunately our employees don't have that luxury. They can't wake up and go to bed. They're stuck at the office. So they just want to be busy, have the evening go by quickly, and then go about their day. And so one way to avoid something like that happening is I always subscribe to the KISS concept. I keep things very, very simple. I'm a high-tech person, but I'm also a very low-tech person. And so what I do is I literally have my daily tasks for my virtual assistant or my weekly tasks, and then I give them a list of evergreen tasks to do once they've completed their special tasks. Once those are done, they can just go do the evergreen stuff that they can do anytime. And this is like posting on social media, creating posts, doing some editing for me, maybe spinning articles, whatever it may be. And that way they're always busy. And I think this is a great way to combat this. It's very simple and easy. Now, also, Beejal, you mentioned email. So let's talk about email for a minute. Now, email is sort of the necessary evil, isn't it? We know that the second we open up our email, that half of our day is going to be gone. It's time consuming. And how much do we really get done in email anyways? So I've always kind of hated email in that respect, and so I came up with a solution for that, and I'll share that with you. This is something that you can adopt in your business right here, right now, and it will save you hours and hundreds of hours on a regular basis. And so what I do is my virtual assistant checks most of my email. So I have 2 email addresses, and this is something you can do. So I have one address, which is the outside world, and then I have my internal email. Now, my internal email goes to my friends and to my key management. And so what happens is all the emails come in from the outside world. They come to my assistant, my executive assistant, LJ. She's been with me forever, so she can literally answer 98% of those emails or transfer them to the right department. The other 2% of those emails, if anything is timely and important, she'll forward it to me in real time. If something is important but not timely, she'll save those emails, consolidate them, and I'll receive 1 email a day. Now, how would you like to receive 1 email a day? Could you imagine 1 email? It would change your life, wouldn't it? You're probably sitting there fainting right now. Now, guess how long it takes me to answer that 1 email from the outside world? It literally takes me about 4 minutes. Now, I have to tell you, to be real frank with you, I don't even get that 1 email anymore. Instead, I just get timely and important. And I have to tell you, it's changed my life. Today, I am solely focused on the big picture projects in our business, which are the only things that really move our business forward. I'm not focused on any of the minutia. And although I'm responsible for operations and sales and marketing of the company, I'm not involved in the day-to-day tasks of the company. And I have hundreds and hundreds of employees, brick and mortar business, but I'm able to run my entire business from a cell phone and laptop. And I do that from some of the most exotic places on the planet with Beejal and our families. We travel all over the globe, and we're always on kind of what, or not always, but quite often we're on what we call a workation. It's not like we're working 4 hours a week. We actually work hard, but we do it in fun, exotic places where we have wild, fun adventures. At the same time, we're growing our business, and we call this the new wealth and freedom lifestyle. So there is wealth and freedom, but we live what's called new wealth and freedom. Being able to do the things that you want to do, have the great adventures that you want to have right here and now, not when you're old and gray, but right now. But at the same time, you're growing your business. You're still in business. You're not retired, and it's a phenomenal lifestyle.
Yep. Dee, thanks for that tip. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, are just swamped by emails. So that kind of leads us on to what other systems and tools people can use to manage their virtual employee or their virtual employee team. And I always say, as you said, keep it simple. We've tried some complex, heavier systems like Central Desktop and Basecamp and stuff. I think we've always gravitated back to Google tools. They're free. They're powerful. They work seamlessly across all platforms, and I think over time, even though we've tested various platforms, we've always come back to good old, the Google tools, especially Google Calendar, because you can right in there just create a calendar for your VA team, put in exactly what you want done, when you want it done, how long you want them to spend on a task, and I think if you just get to master that tool, it takes care of almost 8% of your management needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of the Google apps as well. We've tried to integrate other apps, and we always seem to go back to Google. It's so universal and so elegantly designed. There is one other. We use a lot of Google Docs, and there's another application. I want to say it's Windows. But I really like it, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. But basically, it's like having Google Docs. But they exist on your own computer, so and they're always just syncing them up, and it's a pretty neat tool. But anyways, at the end of the day, we still use Google Docs. Another great tool, of course, is Dropbox. Dropbox
Yeah.
is great. And if you're not familiar with Dropbox, you probably are. But if you're not, it allows you to simply have a folder on your computer that is shared on as many other computers as you like, including your virtual assistant's computer. If you drop a file in, it syncs it to their folder. If they drop a file in, it syncs it to your folder. And that folder syncs, and then it's available offline. So whether you have an internet connection or not, you can always access those. We're a huge fan of Dropbox. It works very, very well. Another tool that we use quite a bit, which I'd love to talk to you about, and that is LastPass. And let me kind of explain what LastPass is. You may have heard of LastPass before, but if you haven't, it's a password holder for your computer. So you may have heard of RoboForm or 1Password. There's a myriad of different options that will hold your passwords for you. But LastPass is unique, and we love it. And the reason why is because it gives you a high level of security. And I'll kind of circle back around to that in a second and tell you exactly how it works. But let's talk about security for a second. I think when entrepreneurs think about utilizing a virtual assistant, the services of a VA or a VA firm like 123Employee, one of the things that come to mind is security. Can I trust them? Can I trust them with my client list, my credit card information, my sensitive passwords? And I want to sort of address that for a minute. Beejal and I, like I said, speak on stages all over the globe, and we have never really talked about security up until a few years ago, and the reason why is we've never really had an incident at 123Employee. But what happened was a few years ago, I was speaking in Florida, and I delivered a speech, was pretty well received, and then a gentleman came up to me after lunch, and he was a lawyer, and he said, Daven, I just went to lunch with about 15 other people, and we were all talking about your services. We were very excited about it, but I have to tell you, everybody in the group had a concern over security. And I was like, really? And I never really thought of it because we never had incidents before, but I was like, I guess that is important. So let's go ahead and address some of those points. So thinking about security, well, first of all, let's think about your client list, because obviously that information is proprietary and it's important. But what I want you to know is, as important as your client list may be to you, it really doesn't mean much to a virtual assistant, an employee, an ocean away. There's not much they can do with it. They don't have the resources or the business acumen to actually do anything with that list. Now, you can also, today there's a lot of different CRM options. You can encrypt data, so you can encrypt credit card information, social security numbers, so your virtual assistant wouldn't really be privy to that information anyways. In addition to that, you may want to share your own credit card information with your virtual assistant. Well, what's your liability there? Well, the reality is there really isn't much liability, because credit card laws restrict your liability to $50. And many credit cards today have a zero liability. I'll give you a perfect example. The other day, somebody stole my credit card number and charged over $10,000 worth of charges in Europe. And I didn't pay a penny of that. And it wasn't a tough process either. It was really easy. I called the bank, and they called me once or twice, and it was done. And then finally, let's circle back here and close that loop on passwords. Now, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that you're probably going to have a whole bunch of passwords that you're going to want to share with your virtual assistant. Having them log onto your website and your WordPress and your different platforms and what have you. And how do you secure that? Well, the way you do that is with LastPass. And what's unique about LastPass is it will store your passwords on their database, but also you can share those passwords with your virtual assistant, but they're encrypted. So your VAs can use them, but they can't see them. And let's say one day your virtual assistant disappears on you. It doesn't happen too often, but let's say it does happen, and you've given them 30 or 40 passwords. Well, you can hit one button and it shuts them all down. Totally secure. Great way to just really allow you to sleep at night and not have to worry about the security.
Awesome, great tip, Dan. So kind of bring this hangout to a close with two kind of final discussion points. One is the importance of being a good boss, and I want to break that acronym down for you, which is BOSS, which is Basic Operational Sequential Steps. And the second one is the importance of a 90-day plan. I think a lot of people start off in hiring an employee with like a 2-week mindset, which is like, let's see how it goes. And that's okay in terms of evaluating your relationship with a virtual employee, but not having a 2-week game plan. I really think it's important that people come into any project with a minimum of a 90-day game plan, which is clearly defined in terms of, okay, what are we going to do as a team for the next 90 days? And as a as a client or someone hiring a VA, I need to know what my role is and allocate time in my calendar to basically be a good boss, and give basic operational sequential steps to my team. Because something that's really important to realize is while our VAs speak pretty decent English, they process information in their native language. And so a lot of times I'll give out an instruction, or clients will give an instruction, the VA will be nodded, but what they're really doing is it's just acknowledging that they're hearing you versus acknowledging they're understanding you. So what I will always do is ask the VA to almost kind of repeat back to me in their own words, or write out the if I've given a verbal instruction, write it out from their perspective and send it back to me before we execute the task. So I just want to kind of end with those two tips. Well, one is break down the game plan for at least 90 days, because it really takes 90 days to implement a good strategy. I think we found that if I'm going to start a marketing campaign, we're not going to see anything in 2 weeks. It takes the 30 days to kind of get the flow going. The next 30 days is kind of to see some early results, but really a 90-day game plan. So when you're starting off for the first time with one of our employees, or any employee really, it's to have that 3-month game plan in process and mapped out. And secondly, make sure you've given yourself time in your calendar to manage your team. Add some final words to that, D?
I think that's great information, and for people that want to get more information on 123Employee services, I've got a couple of gifts for you that I want to share, and that is if you simply go to our website, 123employee.com, click on Enterprise if you're a larger enterprise client, potential client, I suppose, or click on Small Business if you run a small company and you need less than 10 employees. And we have some free gifts on the website. We'll give you a copy of one of my books, and I believe we have our list building video series, our ROI guide, whole bunch of great goodies, and you can get that at 123employee.com. In addition to that, Beejal, you mentioned our events, and besides you and I speaking on entrepreneur stages, we actually do events all over the globe. We do them in Europe, in Asia, Australia, New Zealand, the US, and we have an event coming up, and of course this Hangout will sort of be evergreen, so I'm not sure exactly when you are watching this video, but if you go to this website, beyondmarketinglive.com, that's Beyond Marketing Live, you should be able to pick up a couple of tickets for free to our next event. And you'll have to use a promo code EARLYBIRD. It may or may not be pre-populated on that website, but we would love to meet you live and in person, have you come out to one of our events where we share with you the latest and greatest in marketing, and then we show you how to outsource and delegate it all so that you can live your ideal life. And it's truly amazing events. We show you how to generate unlimited leads for life in your business, but then we show you how to outsource it, because you don't really want to be spending your life in the pursuit of leads. You want to know how to have somebody else do it for you so that you can spend your life in the pursuit of life. So anyways, until next time, I want to thank you for joining us on the Hangout with Beejal Parmar, and this is Daven Michaels, and until next time, live your true life adventure. We'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching.
See ya. Take care.